The Sunday Assembly is just a celebration of life. Who here's alive? Yeah. Is it fantastic? Yeah. Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah!
Earlier this term, the Sunday Assembly came to Cambridge. Often referred to in the media as an atheist church, it is the creation of British comedians Sanderson Jones and Pippa Evans. In the run-up to the event, CUTV spoke to Cambridge students and a college chaplain about their impressions of the organisation.
Perhaps there's a sort of sense, a realisation of what may have been lost, as it were, in the more historic white communities of Britain, and a sort of hungering for perhaps some sort of lost community, which you also see in events like the Jubilee and the Olympics. That sort of hungering for some sort of coming together and common celebration, which is no bad thing.
The Sunday Assembly seems to be offering to secular humanists some of what the church offers Christians. That is a sense of familial community, a place where people grow together. I guess it's important to recognise that even though the Sunday Assembly doesn't believe in God, it is a community gathering around shared beliefs. Although their public charter says they have no doctrines, they do have some. They believe in goodness, they believe that life is worth celebrating, but also that we're nothing. And they believe in this pursuit of the idea of wonder. They even promise that going to their congregations will give you a touch of the transcendence.
It's so easy in everyday life to just get, swamped by your to-do lists which never get to-done lists, and instead this is just a time just to celebrate the fact that we exist. The fact that you're alive, that you are right now having the best time that atoms can have.
The Sunday Assembly, perhaps particularly in choosing Sunday, as it were, is sort of trying to park its tent, as it were, in the Christian parking lot, or whatever the metaphor will be, as a sort of alternative to church, and that's nothing new. Comte in the 19th century created a sort of religion of humanity in France, and the atheist Soviet countries did similar sorts of things. I guess I tend to feel that they always seem a bit thin, or lacking in more substantive stories and beliefs that might actually really make what they want flourish.
I think that the idea that celebration isn't possible without God is preposterous. I think that if we can't, we have birthdays, Christmas is hardly a time of godly celebration anymore. So the idea that we can't, there's nothing to celebrate without God being a part of our lives is definitely, that's what I would say is a step too far.
When you read through something like their public charter, most people would affirm those things, that it's good to be good, that it's good to forgive. And I guess in clearer moments that's easy, but I think it's harder when you're actually going through those things. I can tell you that forgiveness is good, but if you'd really hurt me, if you'd betrayed me, if you'd hurt someone that I loved, that suddenly becomes a lot harder. And I think it's at that point that lack of reason or underpinning really comes into play. Almost the point when it really matters, rather than just being a theory.
I definitely have a lot of respect for the kind of inclusivity that the Sunday Assembly's shown so far.
We've been called the Atheist Church, but we want to make it clear that everyone is welcome here. We're not going to talk about any of that stuff.
But at the same time, their congregations still tend to be predominantly white, professional, male. So the Sunday Assembly will run into its own problems, and I think where other people will learn is seeing how they tackle them.
Trust. Believe in the incredible power of the human mind, of doing something that makes a difference, working hard, of laughing and hoping, lazy afternoons, lasting friends, of all the things that will cross your path. The start of something new brings the hope of something great. Anything is possible.
To be honest, I've already experienced some religious people being quite suspicious of the idea, but then again, the same can be said for some atheists. Lots of people are dubious of the idea, but I just encourage people to go along.
You are the one who took breath and raised your voice. You are the billowing echo of making a choice. Reach out, stand up, and don't stop. It is a new day.
We now have a moment for everyone to please shut their eyes. And we have a moment's silence just to, it's the start of Sunday Assembly Cambridge. We just want to think about, what could be achieved by a community, what you would like, and to think about ways that you might be able to, make changes happen in your own life.
Different people would take different things from it. So there are things that maybe I didn't like as much as some of the other people there would have done. But I think as a whole it worked. And you have to take into account that it's its launch day, and it's as much about establishing it as a kind of tradition and a regular event as anything else. And I definitely think it worked in that case. You could jump to the conclusion and say, we don't believe in God and that's what we have in common. But I don't think that you need to have that in common to get on with people and have a community. I think really what the Sunday Assembly is driving towards is emphasising what's good about life, rather than what's good about belief or not belief or anything like that.
I don't feel that the likelihood of it becoming something that will be so attractive that it would, as it were, rival the claims of Christianity is something that we should be particularly worried about.
Time will tell whether the Sunday Assembly is here to stay, or whether, like previous attempts at regular atheist gatherings, it peters out. In the meantime, its founders have ambitious plans for the future, including expansion into America. Skeptics remain, but for the most part, this congregation seems to be having a good time.
Life is totally amazing, and it's so easy to forget that in the rush of everyday life, and it's just so wonderful to have a time just to contemplate the miracle of being alive.